We're glad you can join us. I do see we have a quorum. I have a few housekeeping items to go over before we begin. Please turn off or silence all of your personal communication devices. The applicant and members of the public may speak to any item before the Plan Commission when that relevant item to which you wish to speak is called. And I open public comment period. Unless an exception is made by the Plan Commission, the following rules will apply. The applicant will be given up to 10 minutes to present any information they wish for us to hear. Thereafter, members of the public will be given up to 5 minutes to address the specific item before the Plan Commission. Members of the public may only speak once per called agenda item unless a Plan Commission member requires clarification or wishes to ask you a question. Questions or statements from the audience will not be considered. Only statements from the podium after your stated name and address and within the allowed time constraints are taken into consideration. After all community members have had an opportunity to speak on the called agenda item, the applicant will be asked if they have a final statement for the Plan Commission, and then the Commission may take action on that agenda item. The Common Council has adopted rules of decorum for city boards and commissions, including the adoption of a civility pledge. No person shall personally attack a board or commission member, city official or staff, or any other person. No person shall make irrelevant, unduly repetitive, offensive, threatening, slanderous, defamatory, or obscene remarks or act in such a manner as to disrupt or disturb the orderly conduct of the meeting. And this would include hand clapping, stomping of feet, whistling, shouting, or other demonstrations. I do appreciate everybody's understanding. Now on to the agenda. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Here.
Mr. Bowen?
Here.
Ms. Shireman?
Here.
Ms. Propp?
Here.
Mr. Rucker? Councilmember Nichols?
Here.
Mr. Belville?
Here.
Ms. Davy?
Here.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Here.
And Chairman Perry.
Here.
9 board members present.
Wonderful. Thank you. First item is the approval of the February 19th, 2025 minutes.
Move to accept as written. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Any discussion on the motion? All right, I'm seeing none. We can have a voice vote. All in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes carried. Thank you. Item number 1 is a consent agenda. A consent agenda is 2 items this meeting where any member of the Plan Commission can pull one off if they so choose. First is release a temporary cul-de-sac easement at 3110 Progress Drive. The second is recommendation pertaining to acquisition of storm sewer easements at 3123 Jackson Street. Is there any member of the Plan Commission wish to pull one of those off? Anyone wish to pull one of those off? Okay, I'm seeing none. We're doing a report on any of these or no? No. Okay, so we have the consent agenda. Plan Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Any discussion on the consent agenda? All right, I'm seeing none. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Ms. Propp?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Belville?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
Chairman Perry.
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
Wonderful, thank you. Item number 2 is to delete the officially mapped Progress Drive from its existing southern terminus southeasterly to Vinland Street. The city of Oshkosh is the owner and applicant. Have there been any site inspections? I am seeing none. Those will be noted. Thank you. I will accept the staff report as part of the record. Please present your summary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2003, the city hired a consultant to prepare a master plan for the Northwest Industrial Park expansion area. The plan included a new street, which is named Progress Drive, which began from the southern side of Furno Avenue, headed south, and then easterly connecting to Vinland Street. The 595-foot section of Progress Drive was dedicated in 2004, which is this section right here, by a certified survey map, which began at the south line of West Fernal Avenue. After that, the city officially mapped the remainder of Progress Drive from this point and then down and to the east. I'll show you. Okay, this is what the official mapping looked like in 2008. Official mapping is a tool which municipalities can use to preserve land, in this case for future street dedication and construction. Officially mapped areas cannot be developed and are treated the same as right-of-way in regard to setback requirements from the officially mapped area. So the city officially mapped it to ensure that the street could eventually be constructed. In 2009, the city purchased these 4 lots, not including the railroad right-of-way, for future development of the site as part of the Northwest Industrial Park expansion area. Recently, the city was approached by a developer to purchase these 3 lots, these 2 larger ones and this little lot on the northwest corner, for proposed development. The developer indicated the entire lot would be utilized for its new facility, and this means that the extension of Progress Drive will not happen. The city is now requesting the deletion of the officially mapped area to remove the hindrance from the proposed development that's going to occur on the north side of the tracks. There is still the possibility of a street to be constructed off of Inland Street, but with the city being the owner of the land, and the city can control how this land is developed. So in the future, if a number of developers approach the city and want to purchase portions of this remaining land, the city still has the ability to construct a new street if necessary. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the deletion of officially mapped Progress Drive as requested.
Thank you very much for your report. Plan Commissioner, is there any technical questions to the staff? Mr. Kiefer.
Is any of that road needed to get back to that further lot on the left, I guess? I mean, what happens if that gets developed? I mean, how big are these lots, or, you know?
Well, the proposed developer is going to purchase all of this, so this section of Progress Drive is not needed.
Right.
There is potential of street construction on these 2 large lots, but the city is the owner of the lots, so the city can dictate if a street will be needed for any potential land divisions if the city is approached for that.
So that potential development's going to come either off of Inland or off the already constructed?
Correct, yeah, they'll have access off of Inland Street, and Progress Drive is going to be extended down to the south and end up with a cul-de-sac bulb, which is the next item.
Any other technical questions for staff? Mr. Lowenstein.
So is it just like essentially going to be one, like an industrial development? We're not talking about some sort of housing?
No, it's industrial.
Thank you.
Any other technical questions? Okay, I'm seeing none. So we will have a public hearing, and I will open the public comment period. The applicant is the city, so they do not need to testify if they choose not to. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak on this agenda item? Would you like to approach the podium and state your name and address for our records, please?
Sure. Kabinga Maini. I am at 3110 Progress Drive, so I am currently the general manager of the plants where that extension is coming north of. So that would be So the area where the cul-de-sac is. So yeah, I'm the general manager of that facility. So a few questions as we plan to extend Progress Drive. I just want to know what the impact is from a traffic pattern standpoint, any additional water runoff, anything that would possibly affect us as we are currently at that facility at 3110 Progress Drive.
No plans have officially been submitted to the city yet, so it's early in the development process. once, with the proposed facility being a by right use, it would not go before this board, but they're supposed to, any development there will have to meet stormwater requirements, or city's stormwater requirements.
Yeah. And during construction, we'll have those traffic patterns evaluated, because I mean, again, we do have that facility currently, so how will that affect us, what's in place for that in terms of the...
That's probably a pretty low intensive use as far as traffic goes, so.
I was going to say, we may have more information as that development progresses, so we would be happy to reach out to you and share that with you. Right now, we're just looking at the vacation of the right-of-way.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to speak on this agenda item? Anybody else wish to speak? All right, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close the public hearing. The applicant does not need to provide a closing statement, so Plan Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Any discussion on this motion? All right, I'm seeing none. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Sherman?
Aye.
Ms. Cron?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Belleville?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
And Chairman Perry.
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
Excellent, thank you. Item number 3 is a street right-of-way dedication for Progress Drive, 3110 Progress Drive. Power Grid Solutions LLC is the owner, City of Oshkosh, Department of Public Works is the applicant. Have there been any site inspections? I'm seeing none. I would accept the staff report as part of the record. Please present your summary.
Thank you. This is the same general area as the previous item. The subject site is at the southeast corner of West Furno Avenue and Progress Drive. In 2008, I believe, Progress Drive was constructed approximately 2/3 of the way down of the dedicated area and ended with a cul-de-sac right here. The cul-de-sac bulb was not able to fit within the 66-foot right-of-way, so an easement was granted to the city to construct the bulb partially on private property, and this easement was will be released. That was in the consent agenda. Progress Drive is planned to be extended all the way down to the south to both serve proposed development of the lands owned by the city on the south side of Progress Drive, and also by the request of Power Grid Solutions. We're proposing to construct another driveway entrance off the proposed cul-de-sac bulb. The dedication is included in a draft CSM prepared for the city, which is right here. The dedication is similar in shape and size to the easement that will be vacated. It's a 50-foot radius semicircle, approximately 3,000 square feet in area. The dedication will allow the city to construct a subdivision regulation required cul-de-sac within the proposed cul-de-sac bulb. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the acceptance of the right-of-way dedication as proposed.
Thank you for your report, Plan Commission. Do you have any technical questions? Any technical questions for staff? Okay, I'm seeing none. We will open public comment period and ask if the applicant is here and they'd like to make a statement. Is the applicant here? Do they wish to make a statement? Okay, I'm not seeing the applicant here. Does any other member of the public like to make a statement on this agenda item? Any other member of the public wish to comment on this agenda item? All right, I see none, so I'm going to close the public comment period.
So did everybody have my chance to comment on that one?
If you want to comment on this one, you can.
So
It's a new one.
Sure.
All right. Approach the podium and state your name and address for our records, please.
Kabinga Maini, 3110 Progress Drive, which is the current property that we're discussing. So just wanted to confirm that we do have the driveway being approved for that, for construction there, and that will be included as part of the CSM, right?
The driveway will not be part of the CSM, but you'll go through separate site plan review for the driveway connection to the new bulb. So that will be at a later time.
So I'm talking about the driveway into the facility, not the bulb.
The top one?
No, there's a,
You're gonna,
That'll be done through a commercial building permit.
okay. All right.
get a separate.
this action is just to dedicate the bulb so the street can construct a compliant cul-de-sac within the
Okay,
bulb.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to speak? Okay, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close the public comment period. The applicant does not need to provide a statement if they so choose. So, Plan Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the recommendations and findings as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Plan Commission, do you have any discussion on this motion? Any discussion on the motion? Okay, I'm seeing none. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Ms. Proth?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Belville?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
Chairman Perry?
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
Thank you. Item number 4 is a residential design standards variance to allow for a non-standing seam metal roof with exposed fasteners at 1215 West New York Avenue. Star Properties of Oshkosh LLC is the owner and the applicant. Have there been any site inspections? You can count me as well. Thank you. Those are so noted. I will accept the staff report as part of the record. So please present your summary.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay, so as stated, the owner is requesting a design standard variance to allow a non-standing seam metal roof with exposed fasteners at 1215 West New York Avenue. The subject site consists of a single residential lot located on the south side of West New York Avenue, in between Spruce Street and Walnut. Currently, there is a single-family home with an attached garage, and the surrounding site is primarily single-family and two-family residential properties. On April 22nd of 2024, the Inspections Division conducted a inspection from the street of the subject property for a complaint that was made on C-Click Fix. The inspection found that the existing roof had been deteriorated to a point of needing repair or replacement. The owner was then sent a correction notice that same day, which stated the violation and that a permit would be required prior to commencing any work. In between April and November of 2024, the owner and inspection staff properly communicated to each other, updating each other of the situation, and it was understood that the subject property was going to be receiving a new roof in the fall of 2024. On November 19th, 2024, staff conducted a follow-up inspection and noticed that a new metal roof had been installed, but without a building permit. So the inspection staff then sent a new correction notice informing the owner that they were to obtain a building permit. After that, the owner's contractor spoke with planning services staff, and staff basically provided them with the standing seam metal roof standards. In January of 2025, the owner then provided a specification sheet to planning staff for the roof that was installed, and it was determined at that time that it did not meet current zoning standards for metal roofs because the product that was installed is considered a G-rib style metal roof with exposed fasteners. As a note, G-rib style metal roofs are a type of corrugated metal roof which are also prohibited per that ordinance. Since the product did not meet current zoning standards, staff informed the owner that a design standard variance and plan commission review would be necessary for possible approval. the applicant / owner submitted the proper paperwork for us to be here today. Just as a note here, I want to go over some of the variance criteria. So we've all participated in design standard variances before, so just to go over that again, maintain, or the purpose of that, one of the purposes of that ordinance is to maintain the basic architectural quality of residences within the community and to minimize adverse impacts on adjacent properties and neighborhoods resulting from architectural and building construction practices that may detract from the character or appearance of the neighborhood as a whole, and to ensure compatible design between existing and new homes. So specifically for metal roofs, the standards regulating standing seam metal roofs apply to all new standing seam metal roofs on existing and new construction within the city. They include the regulation that exposed fasteners or standing seam metal roof designs that employ exposed fasteners are prohibited. And the standards also state that tin roofs and corrugated metal roofs are prohibited. The ordinance that regulates the material and appearance of standing seam metal roofs within the city, which originally the 2017 zoning ordinance update prohibited standing seam metal roofs on residential properties due to noise and aesthetic concerns, but the current regulations that were implored were designed to allow for the standing seam metal roofs while accounting for the noise and aesthetic concerns that were originally raised by the steering committee that was in charge of that zoning ordinance rewrite. So again, just wanted to make sure we know those things regarding our design standards for metal roofs. Okay, so as I stated, the applicant had a G-rib style metal roof installed with exposed fasteners. What exactly does that mean? There's an image up on the screen that shows the difference between a standing seam metal roof and a ribbed panel metal roof. So in the variance application, the owner states that he was unaware that these standards or differences in metal roof existed, and they added that the contractor who was hired for the project stated that they would be obtaining a permit, so the owner was under the impression that they were going to be in compliance. Attached with the variance application, the owner provided 8 examples of metal roofs. Those should all have been part of the packet that you guys have, and they were of the belief that those metal roofs were similar to the ones installed at this address, and or to show that standing seam metal roofs are not necessarily better. So staff researched each of those examples and found that 7 of them had been completed with permit approval and prior to 2017 when this ordinance was in place. And one of the examples was completed in 2023 without a permit, and staff will be addressing that one through a correction notice. Sorry, this is a pretty long one, but I want to make sure I'm covering all my bases on this. So, okay, so the owner stated that the new metal roof should not have any effect on the surrounding properties or curb appeal because it follows all the guidelines besides being a standing seam metal roof. Just again to note that the installed roof also has exposed fasteners, which does not follow code. The owner stated that the existing shingles were removed and the new metal roof was installed over sheathing and tar paper, and the width of the metal roof does meet the minimum 24 gauge, and the light reflective value does also meet the 35% allowed maximum, all of which are requirements for standing seam metal roofs in Oshkosh. The owner further stated that if the variance is not granted, there would be a financial struggle as the G-rib roof would have to be removed and for a code compliant roof to be installed. The G-rib product the G-rib product installed at the subject property does not comply with the city's standards for standing seam ordinance because the product has exposed fasteners, and it is a type of corrugated metal which is prohibited. Owners and contractors of other properties have found and installed code compliant options. Staff have concerns because the roofing as installed does not meet the intent of the standards, and the roof pitch allows for great visibility of the exposed fasteners and corrugated style. Staff evaluated the proposal previously described and the impacts on the block in regard to the proposed intent of the residential design standards. The standards relate to preserving the structural and architectural integrity and the potential impact on adjacent properties, the neighborhood character, and curb appeal on the block. In working with the applicant, staff considered the information provided by the applicant, the degree of code compliance by material installed on the roof, the availability of compliant standing seam products from several major manufacturers, aesthetic intent of the current ordinance, and potential impact on neighborhood character. So in examining the installed metal roof, materials, and information provided by the owner, available products, and the current ordinance, staff is of the opinion that Plan Commission should deny this variance. In granting a variance, the Plan Commission would set a precedent, and future applicants could expect equivalent treatment in similar situations where work occurred without permits and are in non-compliance with the ordinance. The granting of this variance and additional future cases would invalidate the ordinance, and other applicants have met the standards for concealed fasteners when installing standing seam metal roofs under the current ordinance. And lastly, the applicant has not provided a manufacturer or industrial standard explaining why the chosen product is necessary rather than a code compliant option. Okay, so with all that, like I said, staff recommends denial of the variance for 1215 West New York with the following findings.
Thank you very much for your report. Plan Commission, do you have any technical questions to staff? Councilmember Nichols.
Thanks. So just to walk through the timeline quickly, because we did that at the beginning of this, at the lengthy report.
Yep.
A C-click fix complaint because of an ugly roof that was deteriorating was the staff went out and talked to the property owner. The property owner said, yeah, I have a bad roof. I'm going to replace it. Staff said, great, make sure you get a permit. Have that so far?
Yep.
They replaced the roof. And here's where my question is. Has anyone complained about the roof since then on C-click fix?
I didn't check that, but not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And then I think I understand the rest. I've learned more about metal roofs than I wanted to know, I think, in this process. But is there, other than aesthetics, those were designed by, we decided those as a city, what the aesthetics need to be. So, but putting that aside, is there a technical reason why the corrugated roof is bad and the standing seam panel is good?
Yeah, I mean, based on the little bit of research I did, industry standard, kind of what I found was that, so when you have the concealed fasteners, there are rubber brackets. Those screws get screwed onto the metal panel, and then those rubber seals can deteriorate over time. And so when you have the standing seam metal roof, those are concealed, so they're not in the elements. The other big difference between the two is a standing seam metal roof, what is actually attached to the sheathing is a bracket, and the panel has the ability to move in the bracket, similar to like siding. So heating and cooling, you can get warping and popping of the screws with the corrugated metal. So I think in 2018 or 17 into 18, when they were looking at all these different options, those along with the 24-inch gauge were all part of the requirements for what we were okay with allowing for residential properties in the city. Does that answer?
That's very helpful.
Okay.
Again, I've learned something else. Does the state require us to issue permits and have inspections for new roofs, or is that something we choose to do on our own?
I don't know the answer.
That I don't know offhand. I do know it's in our code that the roof permit is required
Yeah.
for new roofing.
And my guess is you all will continue to support roof permits generally.
Well, now you know this is a discussion that we're going to be having with Matrix later on through our code audit and our process audit and our fee schedule looking into, but I would say that currently, as the code stands, being able to do these inspections and check for safety issues such as what we've been outlining are important, and we would be in support of it.
Okay, that's super helpful. And then in my last question, because you all done more research into roofs than probably you want to do as well, based on your research, do you see a reason for us to change our standard in our code to something to allow these corrugated roofs? Or would you say, based on your research, we should continue with the standard we have today that's available for everyone to see?
I mean, I think it's, if the consensus of the group is to open up that conversation, we could do a workshop on metal roofs.
Yeah, but what's your opinion?
My personal opinion?
Yeah, just because you've done the research and we haven't.
Well, I think, like I said, industry, all the YouTube videos I watched and documents that I read, overarching, none of them recommended corrugated metal roofs for residential properties.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Mr. Lowenstein, did you have a question?
No, I think I
Okay. Ms. Shire?
I was wondering, other communities around us allow them?
I'm not familiar, I'm not sure. Either of you know? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I believe they are allowed, to what extent, or the same set of standards. We don't know those offhand.
Yeah.
Is there any other technical questions to the staff? Any other technical questions? All right, I'm seeing none, so we will have a public comment period. And I will open the public comment period and ask if the applicant is here, if they would like to address the board. Is the applicant here, and would they like to address the board?
I don't see them here.
Okay, now we can have other members of the public address us if they so choose. Is there any member of the public that would like to address us on this agenda item? Any member of the public wish to address us on this agenda item? All right, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close the public comment period. We don't have a closing statement from the applicant, so Plan Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Mr. Owen?
Technical question that I forgot to ask at the beginning. Just to make sure I remember correctly, design standards variances do not go forward to council.
That's correct.
We are the
Body.
deciders, so to speak?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct. And also there is, just for everybody to understand, the motion is to deny. Okay.
Correct.
Other questions? Discussion? Ms. Prop?
In other words, if we wish to deny, then we say yes. Okay.
Correct.
I also had a comment. A few years ago, we had an extensive, really good workshop on standing seam metal roofs. Should we endorse them or not? And I think at that time, we came up with an excellent ordinance for the reasons that you've suggested. And once again, I'm not the least bit sympathetic with somebody that can't get a building permit and can't comply with the ordinance. So I intend to support the staff on this.
Okay. Councilmember Nichols?
Thanks. Just a comment. I think that these are always hard for me to deny unless we have a really good reason to deny them, which is why my questions were what they were. The people that decide to put these rules in place, there are oftentimes aesthetic reasons. It sounds like there's a safety component to this one as well. And I think that it's always, even when we deny them, I think these are good conversations for us to have here because we can ask questions of the experts in the room and say, is this a rule that should continue to exist? It sounds like there is a really good reasons for this rule to continue to exist. So I'll be supportive of staff in denying this moving forward. But I think we should always encourage someone to try these variances moving forward. And these are good conversations to have so that we can change the rules when the rules no longer make sense. Thanks.
Mr. Kiefer?
As Kathy stated, I think there's only 3 or 4 of us that were on the Plan Commission at the time, but this was a very extensive discussion that we had and analysis. And we went from not allowing metal roofs in, I think we did maybe some outbuildings could have them, but to actually allowing them in houses. So we took a big step in doing that in coming up with that ordinance. I mean, we looked at the quality, the aesthetics, color, reflective value and stuff like that. And I think we did a very good job at setting up that variance. And it is disheartening that the owner and or the contractor didn't seek the proper approval and know exactly what was needed for them to meet the standards. So I feel for the owner. I hope he has some recourse against the contractor if he was the one that was supposed to get the permit and did not. And that having been in those situations, I know that's a lot of times what happens is that they do that and they do it well, but when they don't, there should be some recourse for this gentleman. So I'll be supporting the motion to deny.
And I don't know if it's helpful for me to add, but in 2021, I think this body did deny a variance relatively similar to this one. Not for exposed fasteners, but the thickness was not the right thickness. So it's kind of similar, but this board has denied a variance request before, just so you're all aware of that.
Ms. Davy?
I also will be supporting the staff in denying this. I do have a little bit different reason. This is not, and this owner is not so much a person as a company. I happen to know from my time on the Rental Advisory Housing Board that they own over 100 properties in Oshkosh. There is no way they didn't know that they needed to have a permit, and I am very tired of entities coming to us and saying, oh, I didn't know I had to have a permit, when they've done all this other work, and of course they need a permit. So my frustration is in people attempting to bypass the zoning ordinances that we have, do something, and then beg forgiveness afterwards. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's fair to all the people who do it properly. And for that reason alone, I would be voting to deny this.
Any other discussion on the motion? I too was planning on providing some discussion, but I think that Mr. Nichols and Ms. Davy has provided my position very well. As a smaller owner of rental properties in town, I know that I need to go through and get these permits, and have done permits for some of my properties, and I am just as astonished as Ms. Davy is over this as well. At the same time, I am with Mr. Councilmember Nichols in that we do need to test these kind of things occasionally and relook at them, because I do remember sitting here 4 or 5 years ago talking about the standing seam metal roofs, and I remember one discussion particularly about color and reflectability and that kind of stuff, and so I do know that these are here for a reason, so I will be supporting this as well. Any other discussion on the motion? Okay, I'm seeing none. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Ms. Crum?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Belleville?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
Chairman Perry?
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
Okay. Item number 5 is a public hearing. It's a conditional use permit request for new apartments at 913 and 923 South Main Street. Sawdust Development, 915 LLC, and Titan Commercial LLC are the owners. White Label Lofts LLC is the occupant. Have there been any site inspections? You may add me as well. Thank you, and those are so noted. I will accept the staff report as part of the record. Please present your summary.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay, so the subject site consists of 2 parcels on the west side of the 900 block of South Main Street, one being 0.27 acres and being a 3-story historic retail building that was built in 1895 that has been vacant for several years. I'm speaking about this one here. The second parcel is approximately 0.32 acre site that contains a single-story office building, a garage, and a parking lot. The subject site is zoned essential mixed use with the 2040 comprehensive land use plan recommendation of Center City. The subject site is also located within the Sawdust District Master Plan and is recommended for mixed use in that plan. The surrounding area consists predominantly of commercial uses to the north and south, with industrial uses to the east and residential uses to the west. In 2018 and again in 2022, a CUP was approved for apartments at just the 913 South Main Street site, both of which never came to fruition. Okay, so the applicant is proposing to convert the existing subject site into apartment units along with a first floor parking garage. A CUP, conditional use permit, was approved for a multifamily development on November 27th, 2018, which expired on November 27th, 2019, and again on January 10th, 2023, which expired on January 10th of 2024. The applicant is requesting to renew the CUP as they were previously unable to secure the needed tax credits to complete the project and now intend to reapply for the tax credits. As proposed, the 913 South Main Street building will be remodeled into apartments of varying sizes, with the first floor being converted into 3-bedroom live-work units with large storefront glass windows on the South Main Street side and private parking in the rear. The large storefront glass facades will allow for home offices, galleries, and meeting spaces, with the interior partitioned walls to separate the living spaces from the home gallery spaces. In your guys' meeting packet, you should have those floor plans of each of the three stories. The remaining first floor area consists primarily of a new lobby area, utility room, and 3 more apartments to create a total of 6 units on that first floor. 4 of the first floor units will reuse the existing front entrances off South Main Street, which you can kind of see in that rendering up there above. And there will be some private entrances off of the rear of the building as well. The upper 2 floors will consist of 19 loft-style apartments with a mixture of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom configurations with a central double-loaded corridor to get into and out of each unit. And the top floor units are also planned to have an attic space above the 3rd floor that will allow for additional living space and views of Lake Winnebago. All of this is a permitted use via a CUP within the CMU zoning district. As proposed, the 923 South Main Street office building and accessory garage will be raised to make space for a new 4-story apartment building, with the first floor accommodating 17 covered parking stalls and the main pedestrian entrance area. Floors 2, 3, and 4 will contain a mixture of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units and will be connected to the 913 South Main Street building. The new building will also contain an elevator that will serve the entire complex and front entry lobby area that will provide space for bike storage. The rest of this parcel will provide 10 uncovered parking stalls and an appropriate refuse enclosure. So furthermore, the applicants did state that the first floor layout of live work units will allow for the transition back to full commercial units if the market dictates that need, which staff believes the proposed live work units and other street level modifications, as kind of you can see in this picture, but more so in this picture, the removal of the 2 driveway aisles. So previously there was a garage door here, and they're planning to remove that and make this a 1-bedroom apartment. So imagine this curb cut being gone. So the removal of that curb cut, and right now also there's access into this parking lot, and so that curb cut will also be removed. So, i.e. the street level modifications, removal of the 2 driveway aisles on South Main Street will help activate pedestrian activity on South Main Street while also providing more on-street parking and a safer pedestrian walkway. One item to note, the Sawdust District Master Plan states that residential units are not to become the majority of ground floor land uses. Therefore, staff is recommending that the interior of the live work units be designed in such a way that can accommodate easy transition back to full commercial space if and when that need arises. So the Sawdust District Master Plan and Redevelopment Area Project Plan for the Sawdust District have goals listed for the area of the subject site, and one of those goals is to rehabilitate existing historic buildings wherever possible. Structurally sound buildings should be maintained and rehabbed, and staff feel that this project helps to accomplish that goal. Another thing to note here, as you can see it, this is just a rendering showing the massing of 923 South Main Street. This entire project will eventually need to go back through this body for a special area design review for the front facade changes that are being proposed. Staff will recommend that all window openings at the 913 site be maintained or restored, and that the rehab of the first floor windows will not be reduced in size so that all current glazing areas remain to appear like storefronts. So this shows a little bit of the site design on the first floor. The proposed renovations to 913 Main Street do not include any changes to the existing building footprint. However, the rear parking area is shown to have some new service walks for each of the units, as seen here, with some additional landscaping in between each of those units along with a parking area. The other proposed changes at 913 occur on the front facade, which include removal of an existing overhead door, I mentioned that before, and the curb cut, and just general renovations to the existing facade. The proposed renovations at 923 South Main Street include removal of all the structures to make space for that new 4-story apartment building with street-level covered parking lot. Recycling and trash containers will be placed within the uncovered parking lot, which you can see here. So again, final review of the exterior of this building will be done through the special area design review at Plan Commission. Staff have notified the applicant that before construction permits will be issued, 913 South Main Street and 923 South Main Street parcels will need to be combined through a certified survey map. This will also help getting the conditional use properly recorded. The other things that are listed in the staff report regard access and circulation, parking, signage and lighting, landscaping, stormwater management. A number of those will be addressed at a later time. For instance, there was no signage or lighting plan submitted. The landscaping is shown here, but it will have to be, done through final review with our department, and the stormwater management plan was not submitted, so the Department of Public Works noted that a plan will need to be submitted and comply with all the requirements from the Oshkosh Municipal Code. The proposed uncovered and covered parking areas are accessed from a public alley on the rear. So this area here is a public alley, 10th Street being here, South Main Street being here. The Department of Public Works reviewed the site plan and noted that the project will require full site plan review. Additionally, 2 driveway aisles are being removed on South Main Street to accommodate the overall design. And again, we believe that provides a safer pedestrian experience on South Main Street. All right, so with that, staff does recommend approval of the conditional use permit for new apartments at 913 and 923 South Main Street as proposed, with the findings listed above and the following conditions.
All right, thank you very much for your report. Plan Commissioners or technical questions to the staff. Councilmember Nichols.
I think this is great. It looks though like we've talked about this 2 other times. Does anything change that we believe that it's more likely to actually happen this time, or?
The big change is that they're incorporating that other parcel.
Okay.
So the construction of the new 4-story building is new for their project.
Okay, that's helpful. And then my guess is that this is a necessary step before they can actually apply for those tax credits. Is that your understanding, or do we?
That is my understanding.
Okay, cool, thanks.
We can ask the applicant.
Any other technical questions for the staff? Ms. Prop.
Just reiterating what you already said, that the final building facade renderings will come back to us.
Correct.
Because, of course, that was a massing
Yeah.
color, shall we say, which, of course, is horribly stark. And I know you're not supposed to duplicate a historic building when you're building, right next to it or with it. But I would hope that it would be more sympathetic, more complimentary.
Complimentary. Mhm.
More complimentary to the historic building, and that might help tax credits. I don't know.
That's just a cubage.
Yeah, this is just a cube to show
Right.
that it's the same height and kind of, it's on the sidewalk, and it's just.
Yeah. No, but I just wanted.
I don't think it's
to
gonna
make
look
my
anything
point.
like that. It's
Just
kind of-
wanted to make my point.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other technical questions? I have one. How many apartments were we talking about? I lost track of that.
So total,
Yep.
I think it's 47.
Okay, and I see 33 parking spaces.
So the next item will address that.
Is this like the across the street thing again?
Yes.
Okay. Which we've heard before.
So condition number 6, evidence of 14 additional parking stalls within 1,000 feet of the building.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other technical questions? All right, I'm seeing none, so this is a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing now and ask if the applicant would like to make a statement. Is the applicant here? Do they wish to make a statement? Please approach the podium and state your name and address for our records, please.
Hi, I'm Todd Hutchison. My address is 2536 Fond du Lac Road in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. So, as been mentioned, this has come up before. My company is Wisconsin Redevelopment, and we've been in business since about 2000, so over 25 years. We've done probably 25 different tax credit projects using affordable housing tax credits, and about half of them are adaptive reuse, half of them are brand new construction. This one happens to be a mix of both adaptive reuse and new construction. Sometimes we'll use historic tax credits along with the affordable housing tax credits that you apply through WIDA for, which you're probably already familiar with. But as somebody mentioned, yes, in order to apply to WIDA, you have to have the zoning in place, which is kind of unfortunate. I can understand why WIDA does it, because they don't want to. It's a very competitive program. There's probably 60 applicants, maybe only 20 are awarded. So they don't want to make an award and then come to find out that the city isn't going to, that the city isn't going to approve the zoning for the project. So that's one of the reasons why they make you jump through these hoops. But, we applied in 2019, I believe it was the first time. We missed by 1 point that year. So we went back again like the next year and boosted our points by, I think, like 4 points or something. And we ended up losing by like 5 points the next year, even though we had increased our points. And part of that reason was because WIDA changes the scoring every 2 years. And in that particular year, they subtracted off 5 points for historic buildings. So we got a reduction, even though we had increased our overall points. So then the scoring just wasn't very favorable for Oshkosh at all for a couple of years. And now, this year, our consultant, Baker Tilly, we brought this back to them. They said, yeah, it actually scores pretty well. We're scoring pretty high on this particular, and it's not only just Oshkosh, it goes down to the census tract level. So this particular census tract scores pretty well. So we think we'll have a decent shot this year, but there's no guarantee. We applied, this year they changed the way that they were doing it. It's a two-step process this year, actually. So we applied, I believe it was December or January, for what's called a concept phase, where you don't really have to have all this in place. And if you are approved for concept, then you can move forward and apply again on March 21st for the full application, which is what we need this zoning approved for that full application by March 21st. What happens then is that they score, however many projects are out there. We probably won't find out until, usually it's around April, but given that it's a later round this year, it may not be till May, June, something like that. And then we have to go through the process of actually doing all the designs, right? So at that point, we know we have the tax credits in hand. We can begin expending some real dollars for the architectural is probably going to be $400,000 on this project, right? So to spend $400,000 now, well, obviously you wouldn't spend the whole amount, but even a portion of it, just to put the applications in, there's probably about $25,000 per application. So we've already dumped, with this one, it'll be $75,000 just in applications to WIDA trying to get this project to move forward. So I just give that all as background for why we're doing this and why we keep coming back, and we just haven't been able to find the right, well, first of all, we haven't been able to get the tax credits approved in order to get it. Hopefully that happens this time, and that'll give us enough of a boost to get the rest of it done. We also, as has been mentioned, we changed this now to make it a larger project. Before it was just that historic building of 23 units, I think is what we had previously. So by adding this on, we don't have to put the elevator inside that historic building. And then just you save costs, per unit by having more units right on your project. So we think it'll make the project overall a better project. And one other thing, I guess, that's to be mentioned as a part of this is that we've got, in the next round here, we're also going to be talking about the parking lot across the street that'll be included for parking. But we also do have, and this isn't even in any of these presentations, we have actually two duplexes to the west that if we are awarded the credits, we'll be able to utilize that land to deal with parking and get this all taken care of appropriately. But for right now, this should meet the zoning, and so we just need to get the checklist so that we can apply to WIDA. So appreciate that, and if you have any questions, feel free to answer.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Is there any other member of the public that wishes to speak on this agenda item? Any member of the public that wishes to speak on this agenda item? All right, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close the public hearing, or I'm going to close the public hearing and ask if the applicant would like to make a final statement. You don't need to. Okay, the public hearing is closed. Plan Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Councilmember Nichols.
I think just about the project generally, I think this is awesome, and it's exactly what we need in this area. I mean, I think with what we're doing in the Sawdust District in terms of living and working and retail, it's going to provide not only people to actually go to these retail establishments that we're building, but hopefully people to work at them too. And so I think it's putting people exactly where we want people in the city. People that can't afford housing today, it's putting them in a place where not only they can afford their housing, but also get a job that maybe they can walk to. So I think this is only positive, and I'm supportive of it.
Any other discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I've supported this project every time it's come through. I've liked it. And thank you for the lengthy explanation. That really helped. No, and I appreciated it, every bit of it, because the more background we can have about why these projects do or don't go, and I've heard about WIDA and how it's difficult to get a project going. So I wish you the best.
Any other discussion? Ms. Davy?
I just want to echo the same thing that's already been said, but I think this looks like a very nice project. And I think it's a great reuse of that historic building, which is, it's an awesome building. It's been there, you know, I don't know, hundreds of years? No, 100 years, but I've always noticed it in town because I used to actually work with somebody who was in one of those buildings. And I'm very happy to see it not being torn down and being reused.
Any other discussion on the motion? I do have one comment myself. I've been here for the previous 2 iterations of this project, and this version is better. It's better for many reasons. One is that the scope is widened, but the second is I don't believe I heard the word affordable in the first 2 presentations, and so that's very exciting for me as well, especially in this area. So just thought I'd throw that out there for you. Any other discussion on the motion? All right, I'm seeing none. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Ms. Prahl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Belleville?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
Chairman Perry?
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
Wonderful, thank you. Item number 6 is a general development plan for an off-site parking lot at a vacant property located on the south side of West 10th Avenue, west of South Main Street. Sawdust Development, 915 LLC is the owner, and White Label Lofts LLC is the applicant. Have there been any site inspections? Myself included. Those are noted for the record. Thank you. I will accept the staff report as part of the record. Please present your summary.
Thank you, Chairman. The subject site consists of a vacant lot on the south side of West 10th Avenue, west of South Main Street. The site is zoned central mixed use with a planned development overlay, and the surrounding area consists of residential uses to the north, the south, and the west, and commercial uses to the east. The 2040 Comprehensive Land Use Plan recommends Center City for the subject area. The applicant is proposing an off-site parking lot which will include 14 uncovered parking spaces. The parking lot will support the proposed new multifamily development that was in the previous item. The CMU district allows for off-site parking lots as a conditional use. Staff does not have any concerns with the proposed off-site parking lot as the site abuts another off-street parking area and is compatible with the neighboring commercial uses and the proposed multifamily use to the north. The CMU district requires a 5-foot pavement setback from all property lines. However, a pavement setback is not required for off-street parking areas abutting other off-street parking areas when either or both properties are less than 60 feet in width. With that, 0-foot setback is permitted along the east property line. A BSM is needed for the parking lot bump out in that setback area. Staff does not have any concerns as only a small bump out area extends in the setback, and a 6-foot solid fence is provided. The submitted site plan shows the drive aisle as a 22 foot in width, but that will need to be increased to 24 feet. And this will be addressed as part of the SIP process. Signage or sign renderings were not included in this request, and they will be reviewed as part of the SIP request. Landscaping, the applicant provided a site plan that includes conceptual landscaping. The CMU district exempts landscaping requirements, but they must meet requirements for paved areas and buffer yards. The SIP submittal will need to include a final landscape plan, including both of those and showing landscaping points. Again, paved area landscaping points will be addressed during the SIP process, and then a 0.4 opacity buffer yard is required along the neighboring two-family residential 10 zoned properties west and south of the site. The applicant is providing a 10-foot wide buffer yard along the west property line and a 0-foot wide buffer yard along the south property line, along with a 6-foot solid fence. The site plan shows a 10-foot buffer yard setback, but this will need to be reduced to 8 feet due to the drive aisle needing to be increased to 24 feet. The applicant will need BSMs to allow for those reduced buffer yard setbacks. Staff is supportive of the BSM request along the west property line due to the needed width to provide parking stalls and drive aisles. And staff is also supportive of the BSM request along the south property line, as only part of one parking stall and the associated bump out extend into the buffer yard. Staff is recommending additional medium to tall evergreen trees be installed to offset those BSM requests. The Department of Public Works has reviewed plans and noted that final plans will need to be are required to be in full compliance with the requirements of the Chapter 14 Stormwater Management, and that will be addressed during the SIP process. And then again, a photometric lighting plan will also has not been submitted with this request, but will be required as part of the SIP request. And there are no new buildings on site that are being proposed. Staff recommends approval of the general development plan with the findings and the condition listed in the staff report.
Thank you very much for your report. Plan Commissioner, is there any technical questions to staff on this? Any technical questions to staff? Okay, I'm seeing none. I will have a public comment period and open the public comment period. The applicant is here. Do they wish to address on this one? Okay. Any member of the public wish to address on this agenda item? Any member of the public wish to address this agenda item? Okay, I'm seeing none, so I'm going to close the public comment period. We don't need a closing statement from the applicant, so Plan Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Any discussion on this motion? Okay, I'm seeing none, so let's have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Lowenstein?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Ms. Prop?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Belleville?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
Chairman Perry?
Aye.
Motion carried 9-0.
Wonderful, thank you very much. Last item on the agenda is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.